Okay, so here's what I'm going to start with. So the line that I love most in this song, although I love the whole song, is, I think I finally found my hallelujah. Now, do y'all like that line? Yeah. When it comes up, it's just like, how many of you have ever heard that song before? And there you have it. So I actually hadn't heard it either until, and then I asked the kids, and they went, yeah, Dad. So, yeah, it's like, duh. Andy Hammer. Who? Oh, see? So, Andy Grammer. Got it. All righty. So, I think I finally found my hallelujah. But you know what hallelujah really means? What do you think hallelujah means? I'm looking for one word. Yes! I think that's all it means. It's like, hallelujah. Whenever anybody says something, the hallelujah is an affirmation. It's yes, right? So I would like you to say right now, I am unlimited, hallelujah. And let me hear how you phrase that. Here we go. And. I am unlimited, hallelujah. See? See how that works? I am unlimited, hallelujah. And now say this, I put to action what I know to do, hallelujah. See? It just works perfect. So here's the deal. I think I finally found my hallelujah means I think I finally found my yes. Yes. I think there are a lot of wires up here. I think I finally found my yes. So what are you saying yes to? So this is a month of unlimited, right? It's also, for me, a month of really putting into practice what I know. Theory, no more theory. Here's the theory, but let's put into practice what the theory is. So that means I have to be saying yes to something that actually puts it into practice. Make sense? So, make sense? Yes. You're like, nope, lost you. I lost you at Hammer. Okay. So let's look at these lyrics, the beginning of these lyrics. Now, Alex changed a word in the first verse, I'm sure out of reverence to me. Yes? Yes, I'm going to use the right word. So it's, I've been grinding, by the way, Grindr is one of my favorite shows on TV. It's just great. I've been grinding so long, been trying this shit for years. I was on the plane going, do I want to say the real word? Or this is what the guy wrote, right? These are not my words, these are his words. I would never use that word in life. And if you believe that, I have a home. I've been grinding so long, been trying this shit for years, and I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. So how many of you have been doing science of mind for years? Doing it. Well, you're going to jump my talk? That's what I was going to say. Maybe you haven't been doing it. But maybe, I know, right? But maybe you get it. How many of you think you get science of mind? You understand science of mind? High hands, way high in the air. Okay, put them down. How many of you think you don't understand science of mind? Wow, one person. Okay, come down here. I want to talk to you. No, just kidding. Okay, now some of you didn't raise it either way. How many of you feel maybe you're a little nebulous on it? Okay, that's good. That's good, 3 of you. We're in a good group here, folks. Okay, so the question is then, if we've been doing this stuff, I'll go back to Alex's word because I'm not comfortable. If we've been doing this stuff for years, how come it's not manifesting? Really manifesting. And I know, now I'm going to ask you another question. How many of you have made great manifestations in your life using this science? Great, right? Okay, how many of you have not made any manifestations whatsoever using this science? Okay, good. The rest of you are just waiting to see how it's going to work. So the real question is, we should be able, as Alex said, to look over all 4 corners of our table and literally like a laser beam, focus this stuff right where we want it. We should be able to focus it on our money. We should be able to focus it on our love relationships. We should be able to focus on our creativity and on our health. There should be no place where we can't focus our minds to know what we need to know to create the life we want to experience. Yes? Yeah. That's why you're all here, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I know I look good, but I don't think you're all here for that necessarily. So, Next lyric. And if there's a man upstairs, he keep bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. So when he says sending up prayers, for me, that means I've been using my mind constructively. I've been using my mind consciously, on purpose, aimed at exactly what I want to accomplish, and something has changed. You know, it's interesting, I was looking up all the incidences of the title of my talk today, which is about waiting, about what waiting means. And everything I was researching was all about waiting for God to give us something, waiting for God to allow us the freedom to do what we need to do, waiting for God to answer our prayers. So what happens when we come into a teaching like this, where we understand God as an eternal presence that's found right here, and that my mind is the tool I use to access this power? Who am I waiting on then? And there you have it. And then, hallelujah. But that is a good hallelujah. You know what? When you really get that, and Alex, that was a perfect power talk to step into this. You know, when you really get your responsibility in this, you go one of two ways. You are just burdened with that responsibility, and you just are like, oh, I'm going back to the Catholic Church. Because then they can tell me what to do, right? Or, although I do like the new Pope, or you step into it. And you say to yourself, okay, so here's how I have been using my mind. How do I want to be using my mind? I see what this use of mind has created in my life. How do I want to use it? What do I want to create in my life? So, my personal hallelujah, just so you know, is this teaching. What I have a yes about is this teaching. I have been around the block with teachings. I have been Catholic, I have been Christian, I have been Buddhist, I have been science of, I am science of mind. I have been, whatever that thing is, that Course in Miracles. I read that whole book. Anybody else read the whole book of Course in Miracles? You have? Wow, how many? It's just me and you, Jim? Okay, so, and you read that too? So it's a very interesting book. It's a long book. You think the Science of Mind is long. Science of Mind's pages are much thicker, even though they look like the same book. So I've been around the block and back again, and Unity, and then with Science of Mind. But ultimately, when I really landed here, that's my yes. I heard Dr. Walker speak. I said it last week. That was my yes. So the title of my talk today is Drop the Weight. But it's W-A-I-T, not W-E-I-G-H-T. Although if you drop that weight emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, if you drop all that weight, you'll also stop waiting. But it's drop the weight. So, I'm at the airport this morning. Now, here's the deal. So I went to Austin to see the opening of Kevin's play, Anne, starring Holland Taylor, in Austin. There's nothing like sitting in a Texan audience watching a show about Governor Ann Richards of Texas. It was just, and I got to, my date for the evening was Sarah Paulson. So it was just so awesome. I know you may be one of the, how many of you know who Sarah Paulson is? How many of you just watched the O.J. Simpson thing? Yeah, she played Marcia Clark. Anyway, so, An American Horror Story, yes, thank you. It's so funny though, I hadn't seen American Horror Story, and I was having brunch with her, and I'm sitting across from her, and the whole time during brunch I had this weird feeling inside, and afterwards I said to Kevin, I said, she's great, a great lady, oh wow. I said, I feel like I must have seen her in something. He said, 12 Years a Slave, and I went, oh, that's why I had that feeling inside. I'm looking at this face, and I'm having this memory of this awful character in this movie. So, and that was a tangent. Anyway, so I'm in Texas. Here's the jet lag. No. So I'm in Texas, and I'm at this opening night, and it's a spectacular opening night, and it was a great party, and we just had a great time, and the whole weekend was really beautiful. But I knew that last night I was going to be at the show, then there was a huge party that I didn't know was going to go into the wee hours of the morning, and then I had to leave the house at 4:30 to get on a flight to be here to speak. And I really wanted to be here to speak. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I got to get up and go. And I'm telling everybody, and we're at this rowdy bar last night, really crazy Texan bar, and they make them big there. All these people are big. And we're playing pool till like 2 in the morning, and I'm not even thinking to myself, we should go home. I'm not even thinking about this. And is there something wrong with my... Oh, it's yours. Is it mine? I'm good. Yeah. Oh, you can't hear me?
No, you can't. It's probably going to die.
All right. Okay, I'm dying. So, I'm going to keep going, though, because I'm on a... yeah. So, whoa. So anyway, so we get home, I'm up, I'm getting to the airport, and the whole trip has been so smooth. And all week I've been thinking about my talk, which is drop the weight. Don't wait around for anything. So I get to the airport, and I get there. I actually could have slept for a half hour. I got there, I walked in, I have TSA approved, I walked through. Kevin had barely left the airport, and I'm sitting at the gate. I was like, wow, this is amazing. No waiting. Except now I'm going to wait. And I could have been sleeping. And I'm sitting there. Am I back on now? Okay, good. So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking about this whole concept of waiting and about my whole talk today and what I really want to say about what it means to wait and what this science means in terms of waiting. And all of a sudden, I realized I had a choice. I could wait, or I could do something else with my mind. I could spend my mind waiting, or I could spend my mind doing something else. I chose sleep for about a half hour. I just fell asleep. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to relax and just go to sleep. I'm not going to think about waiting. And then they make an announcement as we're about to get on saying, we are going to be in a holding pattern above LA for a half an hour because of weather, which means you're going to get in at closer to 9 o'clock. And I'm like, ah. And I was like, wait a minute. This is all going to work out perfectly. And then they get on like moments later. We're going to change that. The weather has shifted. You're going to be early. And I was like, wow, I barely even said, and so it is. Hallelujah. So guess what? We are never really waiting, ever. We are never, ever, ever waiting. We are always doing. And here's how I know this. The universe waits for no one. The law waits for no one. The law is not waiting for you to make up your mind. The law is not waiting for you to get a better plan for your life. The law is not waiting for you to get a bigger concept of who you are. Nothing is waiting. We do not live in a universe that waits on anything. It is constantly moving forward. The universal law of life is constantly progressing. Divine evolution, constantly moving forward, constantly expanding. So where does the waiting come into play? Only in our minds. That is the only place. And I'm not saying that there isn't some positive version of waiting, such as having patience. Having patience for a process to unfold that would be the process that would be the best for us. But here's the real thing to think about. As that process is unfolding, are you waiting for it to unfold, or are you doing something while it's unfolding? And I have a couple quotes here. This is a quote from, and I can't read his last name, some of you probably know who this is, Chuck Palahniuk, who wrote Fight Club, the movie, and the book. And he wrote this, and fascinating quote. After you find out all the things that can go wrong, your life becomes less about living and more about waiting. Well, just think about that for the minute. After you figure out, now some of us have been here a while on this planet. And anybody have anything go wrong in the last so many years that they've lived on this planet? So, the question is, and what he's saying is, after you find out all the things that can go wrong, you buy into it. And you think these things can go wrong. This is unfolding perfectly. Because of all the things that could possibly go wrong, they need to work themselves out. No, they don't. And what Alex said was brilliant. Because the truth is, most people they buy into the process thing, and yet it takes a process. The universe is always doing its process perfectly. It is always unfolding perfectly. It is always processing, for those of you in Canada, is always processing perfectly. The thing is, what are we doing while it's processing? We had a discussion in class this week about the 12-step program, which is a process. There are 12 steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And you are doing the steps. That is a brilliant process. It is a brilliant tool for people to really get clear that their minds are theirs to own. and theirs to create the habits they want and eliminate the ones they don't want. It's perfect. But what is the mind doing during that 12-step process? What is it knowing during the process? That's what I'm really here to talk about today. What are you doing with your mind as you are waiting for your life to unfold perfectly? Because frankly, if you are waiting, you're going to be living a life of waiting. Because we always experience what we're equal to. And if what we are equal to is waiting, then we're going to spend our lives waiting. And it always stays elusive. It always stays that distance away because we're always waiting for it. Now, there's certainty involved in waiting, if you're willing to do that. I am absolutely certain this is unfolding perfectly. I don't care about the process because I trust the universe will unfold me perfectly at its perfect time. And I don't mean it as some pie-in-the-sky guy. That was good, right? I mean it as in the universal life that I am unfolding perfectly. And I am willing not to wait, but to know with certainty that is going on. Now, what do I want to do in the process? What do I want to do during that? It's that waiting part where you just sit there doing nothing, waiting. How many times have you ever let yourself just kind of go numb because you're just waiting for something to happen? I know, we've all done it. So stop it. So Voltaire wrote this, love this. He says, "We never live. We are always in the expectation of living." Think about it. How many times have you caught yourself expecting your life to take off? How many of you have ever expected your life to take off? All of us, right? I've had that. Oh no, I know what's going to happen when. But when is now? When is now? So last night, Kevin asked me to go to this party afterwards, and it was with, and I know some of them are watching today because they couldn't believe I was actually getting up and flying here at that hour. But I want to say this about the company I was in last night. I was in the company of some of the biggest movers and shakers on Broadway. Producers, general managers, company managers, really important people that run Broadway. And as I was in the midst of all these people, what I noticed was that they were consistently, the conversations were of such a high level of consciousness. What I noticed was that every single one of them had things they were doing, had their marathons they were running, and the training they were in, and this workshop that they were taking, and this thing that they were doing over in London. It was just, I just felt so elevated by being around so many people whose pure purpose was to live life, and to live it big, really big. And my husband's included in that. That man is living bigger and bigger and bigger every time I see him. I'm going to have to put him on a consciousness diet before he outbigs us all. No, but it's true. And being around that kind of energy, and one of them said to me, they said, "Are you really, couldn't you just call in sick? Couldn't you just say, I missed my flight?" And I went, "No, you don't get it. I am so excited to get back and talk about what I'm feeling right now. And talk about what I know about this science and about this understanding of an unlimited pure potentiality that is who I am to the degree that I use it." And this waiting situation really does stop us from really living it. So the law is never waiting. So the takeaway today is that truly, I sound like John Livesey now, the takeaway from this talk today is you can wait or you can do something. That's really the truth. And it is backed by this teaching, this philosophy. Because the truth is we teach that we are part of an unlimited energy that never stops. Never stops. It just never stops growing, and it never stops knowing. If you think that your mind isn't creating every second of every day, you are mistaken. Because it is. Even when you think you're not creating because you're just casually thinking about something, it is still creating. Every single thought that is backed by a belief, even the thoughts that aren't backed by beliefs, which actually, by the way, is an impossibility. Every thought is backed by some belief because when you think it, you're going to think whether you believe it or not. So you're still working it in that process. Every single thing you're doing with your mind is producing something. Something. And there's this great quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it. I can't even remember. It's something about people confuse ideas with doing. Think about that. People confuse an idea with actually doing something. It's great to have an idea. But unless you are willing to do something with that idea, what is it? It's just another thought you've had. It's just another thought you've had. Every single person sitting here today has something that is theirs to do. You know, I just finished with the ministerial class working through the book, The One Thing. And when you really get that every single person has something to do, every one of us has some part of this beautiful mosaic. Every single one of us has something to offer. If you're sitting here thinking you have nothing to offer, you don't know yourself. You don't know who you are yet. Every one of us has something to give, something to offer. John, I think it was John Livesey. Somebody sent me a video yesterday of a hairdresser. Was that you, John? Of course it was. John sends me all of my inspirational videos. Of a young hairdresser who, on his day off, goes out and cuts the hair of the homeless. How many of you saw that video? It is so beautiful. And I just sat there crying. I mean, just to see him cutting these people's hair. But here's what really got me. As soon as he cut their hair, they looked like a different person. And you were right, John, that one sentence, the one guy said, "Wow, I finally see me." Right? Just by getting a haircut. Of course, my hairdresser's right there, and every time he cuts my hair, I can see me. And I can see you. Yes. And you know how I am about my hair. So he takes that job very carefully, cautiously. But he has promised me I'm going to come in with something really radically weird, like blonde hair and all spiky and stuff, right? Maybe not. So every single one of you has something inside of you that defines you, that knows you. So much so that if you relaxed a little, you wouldn't have to try to know it. It would know you. It would know you through you. It's like Karen Mitchell. She knows her one thing. This woman gets up and sings and writes music, and that's it. That's it for her. You know? Every single one of you has that thing in you that wants to live you. And guess what? It can change. It can change. You have to be willing to hear it as it changes. You have to be willing to flow with it. Elsewise, I would still be acting. But I heard it when it shifted. And it shifted on a Sunday morning. And it was so clear, it almost took my breath away and almost ended my marriage when I told him what it was. Kevin was like, "That's not happening for us." I was sitting there and Dr. Walker was speaking and I saw me. And y'all know what Dr. Walker looks like, nothing like me. And I'm looking on stage and I saw me. I literally saw me doing it. And I was like, "Kev, I think I'm going to be a minister." He's like, "No, you're not." He said, "That is not the life I have in mind for us." I said, "Well, I think I might. No, really, no." And thus has been, but he's happy I am now, I think. Probably. Did you get that? Possibly. Probably. It's done. There's no choice. Done. Hallelujah. Yeah. Oh my God. This was the perfect talk. From possible to probable to done to hallelujah. There you go. Oh my God, that is so perfect. So, back to you. Enough about me. So, back to you, really. What is it? And so now I've got to ask the question, which is the question I came here to ask, which is, what are you waiting for? If we've been using this stuff for years, and we are not doing what we want to be doing, surrounded with opulence so full, so big, that we don't know what to do with the money, and then we'll know exactly what to do with the money. If we are not as vibrant and as healthy, even through things that are challenges, being healthy through a health issue. Yes, right? And that's so important. I got someone is on vacation right now in the Caribbean, and they sent me texted me while I was on the plane this morning, a picture of my book, Mental Muscle. And the text read, "I just put sunscreen on your face." And then they wrote me that there was a health challenge going on, and would I help with that? Would I help them know the truth about that? And for me, it's like, yeah, you are healthy. Now go handle this. That's what that's all about. So are you capable of not waiting for any of that to take place, but to literally start doing it, start living it, right from where you are? You do not have to wait to be successful. Success is not about what you are successful at. Success is a state of mind. And when you have a state of mind that is successful, is success wherever you go, it meets success. But when you have a state of mind that is waiting, wherever you go, you will be told to wait. Think about that. So, do you want to be in a line waiting, or do you want to go right through TSA? The spiritual authority of your life. I just thought of that. Really, it's all choice. It's all choice what we do with our mind. So, I am so grateful that I got to come here today. And I don't want anyone in this church to ever think that I ever feel like I have to come here and speak. If that day ever arises, I'm not coming. If I ever feel I have to go to work on a Sunday morning, you won't see me. Now, if I'm on vacation, don't think, oh my God, he didn't want to come. Could you imagine? But that's how you should be too. You should be living a life that is so fulfilling that you can't help but get up in the morning and do it. And you deserve that. You do deserve that. And I know many people give me many reasons on why they have to wait to make that happen. I have to stay long enough to get this amount of money. I have to stay long enough for my kids. I have to stay long enough for this. But I don't want anybody to go quit their jobs tomorrow if they're not emotionally, mentally, and spiritually grounded enough to do what needs to be done to change one's life. Because we do have to be there to do that. So let's just all really think about getting there, getting to that place in mind where we really do get to speak our truth. And that the minute we speak our truth, that truth manifests. Because that's this teaching. That's the teaching we are called to live. That's my hallelujah, to prove this teaching. You know, one of the things I teach the ministerial class is that their job on a Sunday morning is to inspire. That's your job on a Sunday morning, to inspire. And for the rest of the week, your job is to show up and live this teaching. Inspire on Sunday and show the world how it works the rest of the time. But that's not just for ministers. That's for every single one of us. Your job is to inspire yourself. Truly inspire yourself. You know what inspires you. You know what you want to do. You know what's calling you to do. Now the rest of the week, once you get that, you come here and I know exactly what I want to do. Live it. Live it from the inside out. And I guarantee you, if you really, really work this teaching, if you really live this teaching, if you really take science of mind, and you really take the metaphysical truths, the wisdom of the universe, and you really take that, and you really embody that, and you really let it define who you are, even on those circumstances where it's hard to do it, if you really do that work, your life will not unfold perfectly. Your life will unfold in a perfect, timely fashion, and you will not be waiting for anything because you won't have time to wait because you will be too busy living life to the fullest. Namaste.